Was Jesus woke? I'm S.E. Cupp. This is Unfiltered Christianity. Like he broke conservatism to the point where even the Bible is too woke for evangelicals. Trump has trumped Jesus. Because in the cult of Trump, it's not enough.
Mr. President, we so appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your.
It's a very nasty question. I have answered the question. I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act.
And for you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work, in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
When the far left, woke, and atheistically minded S.E. Cupp attacked Trump's influence on Christianity, she delivered a fiery critique so much that it had the president reeling. But what the one-time CNN staff never expected was the equal fiery comeback that Trump had in store for her. Cupp began by arguing that Trump's influence hasn't just reshaped conservatism, but rewritten the rules of Christianity itself. But was Trump going to take this line down? Not likely.
I'll tell you what, if you look at his answer, because somebody asked him, do you think it's you? And he went, believe me, after I saw that, I said, it's him. He shouldn't be doing that.
Even after being slammed as unethical, Cupp still fired on. According to her, the Republican Party, once driven by fiscal responsibility and family values, has abandoned these pillars in favor of an all-consuming obsession with culture wars.
The libs and wokeism has become its North Star, and the effects have not been good for the country or the Republican Party. Abandoning principles in favor of cheap calorie culture wars helped lead the party to lose the House, the Senate, and the White House in just 4 years. And we have one guy to thank for that, Donald J. Trump. The former president and current presidential candidate ushered divisive culture wars into prominence, all too happy to pit Americans against each other in the name of patriotism, and of course as a way of measuring loyalty to him. After all, it's
the new GOP, she claims, doesn't focus on balancing the budget or national security. Instead, it's fixated on the evils of woke cartoons, gender pronouns, and whatever the latest manufactured outrage happens to be. And at the heart of it all, Trump.
Focus on the evils of Mr. Potato Head, the green M&M, kneeling for the national anthem, and drag queen story hour, than it is to say balance the budget, secure our borders, end the opioid crisis, and lower poverty rates. Welp, it seems the right's infatuation with wokeism has not only infected conservatism, but Christianity too. This week, Christianity Today editor Russell Moore spoke to NPR's All Things Considered, and what he had to say was alarming. He said that Christianity in the United States is in crisis, and he blamed it squarely on the tribalism animating conservative circles.
In other words, according to her, Trump has, in a way, made the Bible itself now suspiciously woke.
Lamentable but hardly surprising. As the right makes culture wars their entire personality, things like compassion and empathy have become dirty words. Compassion is now synonymous with wokeism. Empathy and things like social safety nets have become synonymous with socialism. Caring about how punitive policies may hurt people, well, that's for the libs. This is the deleterious effect of Trumpism co-opting conservative politics. Trumpism has infected and corrupted myriad institutions once integral to conservatism. Conservative principles are now whatever Trump decides.
Now, let's pause for a moment. How did Trump respond to this?
You shouldn't be doing that. Very unethical.
Well, let me ask you, because one of the potential attack lines has to do with an answer you gave to Frank Luntz months ago when you said that you've never asked God for forgiveness. Do you regret making that remark?
No, I have great relationship with God. I have great relationship with the evangelicals. In fact, nationwide, I'm up by a lot. I'm leading everybody. But I like to be good. I don't like to have to ask for forgiveness, and I am good. I don't do a lot of things that are bad. I try and do nothing that's bad. I live a very different life than probably a lot of people would think, and I have a very great relationship.
First, scoffed at the idea that he broke Christianity. In his defense, he had made it known he didn't break Christianity. If anything, he made it stronger. Stronger than ever.
Great relationship with God, and I have a very great relationship with evangelicals, and I think that's why I'm doing so well.
Then, he pivoted to his classic counterpunch about how SE Cup has had very low ratings. Very dishonest. She doesn't understand what's happening in this country. He blasted her with how he's done more for Christianity than anyone.
Polls are now whatever Trump decides they should be. Much of conservative journalism has jettisoned journalism in favor of Trump propaganda. Support for law enforcement, the military, the intelligence community, the justice system, separation of powers, even American democracy itself, all subjected to whether or not it helps or hurts Trump. Like everything else he touched, Trump has essentially broken Christianity, like he broke conservatism.
Cup's argument is a sharp one, if I must say so myself, that Trump's dominance has transformed conservatism into a personality cult where loyalty to him outweighs traditional beliefs, even religious doctrine. But in the world of Trump, criticism like this doesn't stick, and it turns out SE Cup's face-off with the president pales in comparison to how Trump destroyed this band of reporters in an explosive interview session.
Wait. Quiet.
Trump's press conference turned into a verbal sparring match as he took on unruly reporters with a bite of sarcasm and a slice of insult served in a reinforced dish. It's like all the reporters came famished and left with their stomachs full of insults. It began with a journalist attempting to ask about bomb threats against Jewish centers.
There's been a report out that 48 bomb threats have been made against Jewish centers all across the country in the last couple of weeks. There are people who are...
Trump immediately cut him off, accusing him of misleading the audience about the nature of his question.
...committing anti-Semitic acts or threatening to...
You see, he said he was going to ask a very simple, easy question. And it's not. It's not a simple question, not a fair question.
Notice how Trump's violently dismissing the reporter's inquiry outrightly. But it gets more interesting. Then, in classic Trump fashion, he shifted the focus to himself.
Okay, sit down. I understand the rest of your question. So here's the story, folks. Number one, I am the least anti-Semitic person that you've ever seen in your entire life. Number two, racism. The least racist person. In fact, we did very well relative to other people running as a Republican. Quiet. See, he lied about, he was going to get up and ask a very straight, simple question. So, it's welcome to the world.
Wow. Looks like someone had a hot sauce mixed with ginger before stepping into the conference.
Do you accept that that was a good example of the smooth running of government?
Yeah, I do. Let me tell you about the
Were there any mistakes in that?
Wait. I know who you are. Just wait.
I guess my question is, why should Americans trust you when you accuse the information they receive of being fake when you're providing information?
Well, I don't know. I was given that information. I've seen that information around. But it was a very substantial victory. Do you agree with that? How much longer should we stay here, folks? Wait, let's see. I want to find a friendly reporter.
But it doesn't end there, because he totally blew the lid off when another reporter challenged him on his stance regarding leaks, pointing out that Trump claimed the leaks were real, but the news was fake.
Are real, but the news is fake. I guess I don't understand. It seems that there's a disconnect there. If the information coming from those leaks is real, then how can the stories be fake?
No, the reporting is fake.
And if I
look,
may ask, I just want to ask
Jim, you know what it is? Here's the thing. The public isn't, they read newspapers, they see television, they watch. They don't know if it's true or false.
Why not just say it's a story I don't like?
I do that.
Call it fake news,
no, I do
you're
that.
undermining confidence in our news media.
Here's the thing.
Isn't
okay,
that important?
I understand and you're right about that, except this. See, I know when I should get good and when I should get bad. And sometimes I'll say, wow, that's going to be a great story, and I'll get killed.
He admitted that while the information may be true, he believes the media distorted it to fit a narrative. This is a clear implication that journalists twist facts beyond recognition. And frankly, he couldn't be more real.
If it's true or false.
Why not just say it's a story I don't like?
I do that.
Call it fake news,
no, I do
you're
that.
undermining confidence in our news media.
Here's the thing.
Isn't
okay,
that important?
I understand and you're right about that, except this. See, I know when I should get good and when I should get bad. And sometimes I'll say, wow, that's going to be a great story, and I'll get killed.
Then came a textbook Trump moment when a journalist asked if he would meet with the Congressional Black Caucus. Trump, sensing an opportunity, fired back. And folks, it didn't end well for this reporter.
I know what's good and bad. I'd be a pretty good reporter, not as good as you.
Are you going to include the Congressional Black Caucus and the Congressional
Well, I
Hispanic
would.
Caucus?
I tell you what. Do you want to set up the meeting? Do you want to set up the meeting?
No.
Are they friends of yours?
I'm just a reporter.
No, set up the meeting.
I know some of them, but I'm sure
Let's go set up a meeting. I would love to meet with the Black Caucus. I think it's great, the Congressional Black Caucus. I think it's great.
But make no mistakes. Things got even wilder with this Chinese reporter.
The exact same thing about you, that you should have warned them the virus.
Trump's clash with CBS reporter Wei Jiang was a masterclass in deflection, dominance, and rhetorical counterattacks. Jiang pressed him on why he had continued to hold rallies in February while the virus was spreading like wildfire.
The exact same thing about you, that you should have warned them the virus was spreading like wildfire through the month of February instead of holding rallies with thousands of people. Why did you wait so long to warn them?
Who are you with?
And why did you not have social distancing until March 16th?
Who are you with?
I'm Weijia Jiang with CBS.
Once again, notice how Trump deflected from the question. Instead, he shot back with, "Who do you work for?" which is a classic move to put the journalist on the defensive.
Social distancing until March 16th.
Who are you with?
I'm Weijia Jiang with CBS News.
So, if you look at what I did in terms of cutting off or banning China from coming in.
Chinese nationals. But by the way, not Americans who are also coming from China.
Nice and easy. Just relax. We cut it off. People were amazed. These gentlemen, everybody was amazed that I did it. We were very early. I'm the president. And you know what I just did? And you know what I just...
And by the way, when you issued the ban, the virus was already here.
Okay, and you know how many people, when I issued the ban, how many cases of virus were in the United States?
Jiang challenged him, pointing out that his ban still allowed Americans to return from China. Trump, sensing the need for control, cut her off with ballistic precision.
Issued the ban. Do you know the number?
No,
how many cases? Remember I said one person. How many cases were here when I issued the ban?
But did you know?
No. You have to do your research. How many?
I did my research. On the 23rd of March, you said you knew this was going to be a pandemic.
Can I tell you what? I did know it. I did know it. All I have to do is look.
So you knew
Anybody knew it. Just, are you ready? How many cases were in the United States when I did my ban? How many people had died in the United States?
So do you acknowledge that you didn't think
It was a condescending jab meant to throw her off balance. He then insisted that his early response was widely praised, brushing aside her question about why he hadn't warned Americans sooner.
Keep your voice down.
Did you not?
How many cases were in the United States? I did a ban where I'm closing up the entire country. How many people died?
And that's a fair point.
How many people died in the United States? And yet I closed up the country, and I believe there were no deaths, 0 deaths at the time I closed up the country. Nobody was there. And you should say thank you very much for good judgment. Go ahead.
The most heated moment came when Jiang pointed out that when Trump issued his travel ban, the virus had already entered the U.S. rather than address the point. Trump repeatedly demanded a number, sidestepping the real issue while forcing the journalist onto the defensive. Perhaps the most intense confrontation he's ever had with an atheist interviewer happened with CBS's Leslie Stahl.
Do you think that your tweets and your name calling are turning people off?
No, I think I wouldn't be here if I didn't have social media.
Well,
but the media is fake. And frankly, if I didn't have social media...
From the start, Trump set the tone by objecting to the framing of the interview. Are you ready for tough questions? Stahl had asked. Trump shot back, and watch what he said next that immediately challenged the legitimacy of her line of questioning.
Excuse me, Leslie, you started with me. Your first statement was, are you ready for tough questions?
Are you?
That's no way to talk. It's no way to talk.
Leslie, one.
Throughout the interview, Stahl pushed him on critical issues, including his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic in his use of social media.
No, I don't want to lock him up, but they certainly should be looked at.
Obama? You want to lock up Obama?
No, I don't want to lock him up, but he spied on my campaign.
Do you want to lock
Obama
up
and Biden spied on my campaign. Do you know what that is? Do you know what they did? Do you know how horrible it is what they did?
The president never won not to take a dig at the way Democrat governors have handled the coronavirus pandemic.
These are Democrat governors, and they're doing a great disservice.
What about you saying, let's open up?
She confronted him about his tweets and name-calling, asking if they were turning people away. Unfazed, Trump dismissed the concern entirely.
The greatest economy in the history of our country, and the other side was coming in.
You know that's not true.
It is totally true.
No.
Best unemployment numbers, best employment numbers, 160 million people working, highest stock market price. You wouldn't say that to Biden, what you just said to me, if he had it. If he had it, you would never say that to Biden. We had the best stock market price ever, and we're getting close to that price again. We had the best. Everything was the best.
Well, I'm not going to fact check you.
Well, you don't have to fact check me. I mean, excuse me, the stock market was at its highest. The unemployment numbers for African Americans, for Asian Americans, for Hispanic Americans.
But Stahl wasn't backing down. She reminded Trump that in a past conversation, he had admitted to using the term fake news as a way to discredit the press.
Didn't have social media,
Well,
but the media is fake. And frankly, if I didn't have social media, I'd have no way of getting out my voice.
Do you know what you told me a long time ago when I asked why you keep saying fake media?
Yeah.
You said to me, I say that because I need to discredit you so that when you say negative things about me, no one will believe you.
I don't have to discredit you.
But that's what you told me.
You've discredited yourself.
You know, I didn't want to have this kind of angry.
Of course you did.
No, I didn't.
Of course you did.
No, I didn't.
Well, then you brought up a lot of subjects that
Well, I said
were
I'm going to ask you
inappropriately brought
tough
up.
questions.
They were inappropriately
But-
brought up. Right from
When Stahl challenged him on his treatment compared to Joe Biden's, Trump took the opportunity to hammer his long-standing grievance.
Right from the beginning. No, your first question was, this is going to be tough questions. Well, when you set up the interview, your first statement
You're
was...
president. Don't you think you should be
no.
accountable to the
Listen,
American people?
your first statement to me, this is going to be tough questions. Well, I don't mind that. But when you set up the interview, you didn't say that. You said, oh, let's have a lovely interview. And here's what I do say.
So what?
You don't ask Joe Biden. I saw your interview with Joe, the interview with Joe Biden.
I never did a Joe Biden.
It was a joke. The interview, 60 Minutes. I see Joe Biden giving softball after softball. I've seen all of his interviews. He's never been asked.
Stahl tried to steer the conversation back to him, but Trump wasn't having it. Forget him, he scoffed. I'm the president. You started with me. As the interview went on, Trump's patience visibly wore thin. He bristled at Stahl's persistence, dismissing several of her questions as inappropriate and accusing her of setting up a hostile conversation. When a producer interrupted to give a time warning, Trump saw his opening.
Start with me.
You're president.
Excuse me, Leslie, you started with me. Your first statement was, are you ready for tough questions? That's no way to talk. No way to talk.
Leslie, one second. This is the first warning. I think we have 5 minutes until we have the vice president step in. Is that about right?
Well, I think we have enough. Really, we have enough of it.
I think we're ready for the vice president now.
I think we have enough of an interview here. Okay, that's enough. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go meet for 2 seconds, okay? Thanks. I'll see you later.
And then he stomped off, and the whole studio was too stunned to believe that actually happened.
I think we have enough of an interview here, Hope. Okay, that's enough. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go meet for 2 seconds, okay? Thanks. I'll see you in a little while. Thanks.
Be careful.
To make his point even clearer, Trump later released the full, unedited interview before CBS could air it, his way of preempting any perceived bias.
Clip there of an end of an interview between President Trump and CBS journalist Leslie Stahl. In a hilarious power move, Trump not only walked out of his 60 Minutes interview, but released the interview 3 days before it was set to air. After he sat down for it, the president wasn't taking any chances that it could be taken out of context, so he tweeted this: I am pleased to inform you that for the sake of accuracy in reporting, I am considering posting my interview with Leslie Stahl of 60 Minutes prior to airtime. This will be done so that everybody can get a glimpse of what a fake and biased interview is all about. He's now released the whole interview, and it basically consisted of Leslie Stahl not letting the president get away.
It was a classic Trump move. Cut the conversation short, claim victory, and control the story before the media could spin it. What are your honest thoughts about Trump destroying woke and atheist reporters? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button for more.